Hello, everybody, and welcome to AJS News. Hold on to your butts. There's a ton of stuff this week.
Oh, okay. It's got an action-packed episode.
Look, we go away to PAX, and everyone decides to drop all the news.
We're a little behind for PAX. But first, let's get a word from our sponsors. Get this up in here.
Oh, hey, guys. Thank you so much for purchasing the YouTube OnlyFans. Like what you see? As a token of our appreciation, we too wanted to give back to the community. Oh yeah, this batch is ready. We're gonna be rich!
Guys, we don't need to do this anymore. We just got approved for the YouTube join button.
What the hell? What are we gonna do with all this?
Oh, I don't know. Put it away!
Unless you guys still want it.
Thank you guys so much. We want to say we are now over 1,000 members. And I talked about this on one of the previous ones. It's like if you can form that core backbone of like 1,000 people supporting the show, then you can continue to, well, that's if there's only one person. There's multiple of us here. I'm not saying please don't everybody stop supporting the show. What I'm saying is we've reached a milestone and it's celebration time. Thank you guys so much of those of you who have contributed and enjoyed the supporting members. Still don't know what to call them. I want to call them the mobile infantry. Maybe get some badges, and send you the badges. If you don't need no stinking badges, that's okay. But I will give you a stinking badge. And we're going to be picking a time for our monthly Q&A and our little bloopers footage. There's already cool little bits and footage that you can see now up there.
So many embarrassing things that I wish would just stay off the internet.
On the YouTube join button and the Patreon. Just the little non-content bits that we here and there. So thank you guys so much for supporting us. And if you guys haven't yet and are considering it, please do it. It helps us motivate going forward and bring you tons of new content, which we have planned for this year. So we're going to start to settle into a new schedule here sometime in February and start cranking these things out. Next up on the Angry Joe Show is the Dragon Ball Z Angry Review. Now, granted, we were at PAX South, so there's going to be a little bit of a delay on that one. Please give us some time on that. But I'm excited. I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan. And then some more top lists, as promised. All right, guys? So that's it for AJS News. What's going on in the gaming world?
Well, what's going on currently is people were a little miffed at us last week because they felt that we were attacking Pokemon.
Oh, yeah. No, I said that I would correct. Yeah. There was a lot of Pokemon fans.
There was a lot. So they're ravenous, and they were under the impression that we didn't understand the news story. Yeah, it's all my fault. You can blame me. Look, we know that if you pay $30, you get both pieces of DLC. But true Pokemon fans like us bought both Sword and Shield. And if you want the DLC for both Sword and Shield, you have to buy the DLC for both. So it is $60 for both pieces of DLC.
Yeah. Plus, what you're talking about is the new content in there.
You're getting new content.
People were telling me there are ways to get them Pokemon for free.
There are not.
Okay, well, then
so
motherfuckers are lying.
There is no way to do it for free unless someone has already paid for it. So the Pokemon are behind a paywall. And if you have a friend who's going to buy it and you're going to split the cost and they will trade him to you, or if you have got them in a previous game and they happen to be Pokemon that are available in this and you use a service that doesn't exist that you will have to pay for next month, it's only $5 a year, but it's called Pokemon Home. But it comes out next month. Then you could transfer only some of the ones that are already existing. But look,
I hope you've done your research, Alex.
We did last week too.
Okay,
we were joking.
There will be more than 200 Pokemon species that appear in these areas, and you can add to your team, including the legendary Pokemon mentioned before.
Additionally, we'll be distributing free updates for Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield that will coincide with the releases of the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. These updates will allow people who don't have the Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield expansion pass to obtain the Pokemon that appear on the Isle of Armor and in the Crown Tundra through other means, such as trading. Players will also be able to bring over Pokemon to their games from the cloud service Pokemon Home, as long as the Pokemon appear in the Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield expansion packs. Pokemon Home is planned to launch in February 2020.
What happened is the joke got in the way. The joke ruffled some feathers because we didn't clarify that there's other content besides literal Pokemon. They're not saying, Hitmonchan, $30, please.
Yes.
They're saying,
Not
here's
yet.
an expansion with some Pokemon that we cut out and weren't in there.
Yes.
And so our main point still applies. Obviously, if you buy the expansion pass, you're getting additional content in addition to those new Pokemon. But it just feels a little dirty. It feels like this is maybe how we're going to be approaching this franchise in the future. And if y'all are defending that already, if that's cool with y'all, that's fine. But don't get mad at me come 10 years later when what happens to the Pokemon franchise is exactly what happened to Madden and sports teams. Like you over there making fun of sports gamers as zombies, and I do it too. But guess what's going to happen in a few years if you get too complacent, all right? We need to push back against certain things that we don't like. And I'm happy to see that some Pokemon fans do. Some Pokemon fans will just buy anything and just accept everything and anything.
Well, that's what they're hoping for. So.
Well, here's the thing is unless we do a review of the expansion pass or the expansion content, you won't know whether it's worth it or not. There could be so much fucking value in that additional stuff. And then in that case, then the fact that there are new Pokemon in there, not a big deal. I'm not buying it for the Pokemon. I'm buying it for the additional stuff. And that's the clarification that we should have made for Mega Pokemon fans. But I thought it was obvious. Obviously here we're going to be joking. So I don't count this as any kind of colossal fuck up on our part. This is just some feathers were ruffled the wrong way, and we want to be like, it's okay.
Calm down.
It's okay.
Calm down. We don't tell people to calm down because it makes it more mad.
Yeah, that never works.
Never works.
But you can pet them like this. It's okay.
I don't know.
I don't like petting.
Like
the
they're
fans.
a pigeon.
You can try that.
We'll try it.
well,
Try it.
Well, let's talk about clickbait. We got some clickbait this week, and there was some real juicy headlines that made absolutely no sense and were absolutely false. And my favorite headline was Joe Biden calls game developers little creeps who make titles that teach you how to kill.
Fuck you, Joe.
But
You piece of shit.
Yeah.
Joe is so fucking out of touch with reality. He puts his foot, his entire ankle is now in his mouth.
Yeah.
His foot is so far up. Why? What is going on?
So he was speaking to the New York Times, and they're doing an interview talking about how
You attack video games. Fuck Joe. Fuck Trump. The second they start attacking video games, I don't care if you're on the left. I don't care if you're on the right. I don't care if you're on the middle sitting on a fence. I'll punch you in the throat if you attack video games.
So
Period.
The direct quote is he was in Silicon Valley talking about intellectual property rights, and he was talking to people in the industry, and he said one of the little creeps sitting at the table who was a close to a billionaire who told me he was an artist because he was able to come up with games to teach you how to kill people. Now, he didn't call all game developers
fuck?
creeps. He called one particular person a creep. Now, in this situation, they probably were a creep. It could have been. They could have been. We don't know.
We can give Joe the benefit of the doubt.
Well, he didn't call all people creeps. That's what the headline says. He's like, all game developers are not creeps. It was just this person at the table.
I don't think he called all people creeps.
No, he didn't. We have the quote. One of the little creeps sitting around the table.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is I don't think people think that he's calling everybody a creep, but he's.
Joe Biden calls game developers little creeps. Is that
of course, you're
clickbait.
right. This
Yeah, that's what he said.
We're just clearing it up. It's like, look, he's an old man who
out
probably
of
doesn't
touch.
play. He's
who
out of
hates
touch.
video
He's
games.
yelling at clouds. He's
Same
doing
thing
all
with
the
Trump.
things. Yeah.
They don't understand video games because they
cause
don't play
violence.
video games.
Yeah.
I would love to have a president that plays video games. You know what? The Polish president gifted Witcher to Obama one time, so he must play video games.
Awesome.
I don't know if Obama actually ever played the copy that he received, but he knows about it.
Yeah.
But a lot of that stuff comes
games are
from
amazing.
ignorance.
They're old.
And wanting to get
He's
votes.
in his 70s, right? And
Well,
so,
he's like turning everybody off. He better come out with a clarification. I love gamers, and I also play Call of
Anything he says
Duty,
from
and
now
I
on
I
is
kill
gonna be
love
so fake.
Pong or whatever, you know.
Yeah, it's gonna be so fake.
All right.
No, he's just trying to get, I guess, votes or. But here's the problem: is that it's that holier than thou, like looking down on video games as this thing where it's just a kill people simulator.
Well, they don't know anything about it, right?
That's so fucking ignorant.
That's
and
all
yet,
I'm
and
saying.
yet, and then there was this great tweet. It's like, well, nobody tell him about the military.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A killing people simulator. And I was like, oh, tweet reply of the year.
Yeah.
Burn,
It just
son.
sucks to see politicians. I wonder how long it's going to take for like gamers who then become politicians to then sort of push out this kind of ignorance. It'll probably take another 50 years.
A while, at least 20
40,
years
50.
before people start to integrate, or at least it becomes a large enough part of our culture and economy that they're forced to like look into it a little bit.
And I don't expect Joe Biden to still rides the train every day to or the Amtracker. He was like big on that, and he's shitting on video games now. It's like, all right, man, you need to evolve your. Problem is, you put a controller in Joe's hand, I'm not really sure he's going to be able to.
Old man out of touch. Who knew? Who knew that was going to happen? In other no shit news of the week, GameStop had a rough retail holiday season. Yeah.
What?
You don't say, right? They didn't have a great time. I think they were down 24% overall sales. And then their stock went down. I'm going to show you exactly how much their stock went down.
Doing?
Their stock crashed like 15%, which is that much.
Pennies on the dollar.
We got 70 something cents. So
make sure the camera can see you. You might put him. Yeah.
It's gonna drop all this change.
Yeah, I don't want to pick it up later. So they had a rough time. They said that, look, the quote is, the accelerated decline in new hardware and software sales coming out of Black Friday and throughout the month of December was well below our expectations. Apparently, they thought they were going to sell a bunch of PS4s or something.
Boo! Maybe you shouldn't have offered me $3 for my fucking Xbox 360 when I took it in there for fuck you, GameStop.
$3? Wow.
No, it wasn't no $3.
It was like $4.
Something like $30 or
Yeah, it's
20.
basically like you going into that pawn store. Best I can do, $5.
$5.
So I saw a lot of tweet replies to that, and they were like just mad at GameStop. They were like, "Fuck you! I told you I'd get revenge on you, motherfuckers."
So they said
They're
that sales
falling
will
hard
strengthen
times.
as new consoles and innovative technology are introduced. Well, that's 10 months away. So if you are holding on to GameStop stock, you get a while before that ever bounces back. But who knows if that's even going to happen?
They need to put more board games in there. Board games.
They need to do
Angry Joe and Alex.
Yes, they need to do something. Well, people who are not
save
struggling,
them.
Epic Games Store avoids review bombing with they're going to integrate OpenCritic. One of the big things that people criticize the Epic Games Store is there's no features. You don't get you don't get reviews. The shopping carts suck. There was a bunch of issues with the Epic Games Store, and they do not want to have user reviews because they think they're going to get review bombed. So they're going to integrate a site called OpenCritic, which kind of just is like an aggregator, brings all the critics things together, and you either get a thumbs up or a thumbs down, buy it or don't buy it type thing. So they're going to integrate that, and that's how they're going to try to bring in some features.
I guess that has review bombing protection or something,
because it's only critics can use. They're only pulling from like
I
the
think
critic side.
OpenCritic likes us. I don't remember if it was OpenCritic or another website that that was a long time ago. I was super busy. I wasn't able to submit my reviews to it. No, we're not on Metacritic like some other critics are. We're not on these aggregate sites.
We're not on anything.
Don't really care. Don't really want to be.
No, you come here and watch us.
But it just sounds like Epic is like, fuck. Hey, I see you got a database. Can we work together?
Let me use it.
Let me
Let's
use
do
that.
it. Give me some cash.
What? No, man. Hey, the name. I'll put your name on the website. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So they're adding one new feature, which is great. I mean, they made a ton of money this year, and they should be making the storefront better. And they're just doing it really, really slow.
But maybe OpenCritic is super excited about this because that'll help them out in their war against Metacritic, and if they do have features to protect against review bombing, I'm all for that because I don't think review bombing is legitimate or fair to do, and I think it ruins the spirit of reviews. And I'm a reviewer, and I want to be like, look, this game should be reviewed on the merit of the game.
Yes.
And I understand how some people are like,
some stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand some people are like, fuck Randy Pitchford, fuck Borderlands 3, and then they want to say Borderlands 3 is a 1 out of 10. I'm like,
Come
you're an idiot.
on.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Or maybe there should be a review. Just start a site for publishers, right? Like publisher reviews. Then you can be, EA would lose every fucking year in Activision.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Bethesda coming up on that. Bethesda probably above EA and Activision recently. So I would love to see that. So on every review score, there's also the publisher or something like that, or even the developer, and they get their own scores. That might be interesting.
Yeah,
Think about it, OpenCritic. just throwing spitballing ideas out there. Copyright Angry Joe Show, $10, please.
Yes, $10. Well, Epic Game Store had a really, really big year, and one of the things that they attribute to having a great year is exclusives. And if you thought that they were going to stop, they are not. They are going to double down on
they're
it.
Making a lot
Wait,
of money.
what?
Epic Game Store is going to continue with the exclusives. They have generated $680 million so far, with exclusives being critical, says Tim Sweeney. They've hit over 100 million PC customers this year. And exclusives currently account for 90% of all new Epic Game Store releases.
Smart businessman. There's the business side of me, and there's the creative side of me, and there's the reviewer side, a lot of different sides. And, he knew it would work. It fucking worked. And he's like, fuck all y'all.
But I still hate it. I still hate everything about it.
You can still talk shit about it. You can still point out what's wrong with it, and hopefully that leads to positive change. Obviously, you just read a news story about them potentially getting their review shit.
We get one feature.
Getting their
We'll
shit
see what
together.
happens next year.
Yeah, maybe if they make $2 billion, they made $1.8 billion this year on Fortnite. Use some of that money just to bring up your platform.
I don't think Fortnite's going to make a lot of money going forward in a lot of these years. Eventually, it's going to run out of steam.
Yeah,
So
unless they make the
to-
next Fortnite, whatever that it looks like. But I've got some bad news for you.
Okay.
So based on how well Epic's going to do, Stadia plans on doing the very same. Google promises more than 10 Stadia timed exclusives by 2020. So not only will you have to do it for some of the PC games, but now you're going to have to buy a Stadia if you want to play some of the games coming out this year when they release.
No.
How much money?
No, just so in what developer in their right mind would be like, yeah, I pour my passion and my love into the game, and I want absolutely no one to play it. I want five guys in Chicago and a few other people here in LA with really good internet.
Yeah.
Those guys I want to play my game.
Google's got money, though.
Nobody else.
If someone
It
walked up to you
seems
with
like
a
that, they're
suitcase full of money and was
I'm
just like,
pretty sure this news story. I mean, we'll monitor this. Obviously, these
Yeah.
are juicy news story bits for our news show. Oh my God, they announced this exclusive for Epic or this. But even more insulting than that is, oh my God, announced exclusive for Stadia. I suspect these are probably going to be indie games.
Yes.
Like that
That's
one
what I was thinking.
exclusive.
Guilt is
for
the one, the other one.
Guilt.
Yeah, that's the one that they launched with. It
His
was
name is so ironic.
Well, Google has promised more than 10 Stadia timed exclusives will be released before July, but it won't name the games yet. More than 120 games are due to hit Google's streaming service this year.
That's what the developers are feeling, right?
Yeah, they're
now.
like, please don't tell.
Do I get a gold star? Or did that take
No,
me too long?
that was no.
Fuck.
You can have
He
like a
said
green
no.
star,
No,
which
no.
is like I think it's
Only
one
gold
word.
star.
Only
Where
gold
you at,
star.
Joe? Where at?
So hopefully that's we still have to crack that Stadia open and just see how
Yes,
well it works.
obviously we're restructuring our show. At the beginning of the year, we always like, okay, what shows we got? What can we do next? And obviously we launched the supporting membership stuff, and now we're going to be focusing our next reviews. But maybe towards the end of the month, maybe towards the beginning of February, before the shit starts to hit the fan, it would be nice to crack that thing open. Maybe y'all could do it on y'all's thing. So we'll see.
Yeah, maybe we'll stream some
see
Stadia.
whatever.
We got some new
I don't know
shows
what they
coming.
have.
We'll do Tomb Raider because it's like out of all the games they have, it's like half of the things that work, and it's a platformer, and
This should be interesting.
Yeah, it should be interesting. All right, well, we got some early in the week. PS5, PlayStation, and Sony said no more E3 for us. We're done. And so this is something that has people worried about. What does E3 look like in the future? We got some news.
Oh man!
So it was
They would
leaked.
come back.
Yeah, I was hoping
good,
so.
though, for them.
They want to do
They spent
things.
so-
Fuck them, Joe. I don't care about what's good for them.
Well,
I
they
care about
spent-
what's good for gamers and gaming and,
Yeah,
and
but
news.
You stopped
E3 is
going?
not good for us anyway.
Yeah, because they fucking stopped going.
Yes.
That's why I'm saying, like, I like one-stop shop. You know what? Fuck them anyway. Wouldn't even let me in their area. I had to go to Sony UK's area, and they were like, who are you? Are you broadcast worldwide? Yeah.
Sure.
All right, come on in. And then you go over to the U.S. side. They're like, who are you? No.
Ouch.
No, you have to schedule appointments ahead of time.
Well, they're not showing up again this year, and a lot of other people are backing out. And we got some leaked documents we talked about on the show that the E3 wants to make the show more of an influencer event because they know that it's going to be harder for them to get some of these big titles. They're going to be letting more fans in, and so they want to invite all these influencers, mostly unpaid, and you are now the product that's being offered. So, and it sounds terrible. They're also
I'm the product. What? I've been going there before I stopped going there last year. I've been going there for free for 9 years. You're saying I could have got paid the whole time to go there?
Well,
you fool.
So 10,000 more tickets are going to be sold this year. They're going to try something called Qtainment. They know that the lines are going to be longer. There's more people going. There's less to see. Qtainment means you're stuck in line, and so they're going to try to entertain you, which means advertise to you in line. So you're going to sit in line, and they're going to try to.
Are they going to have a magician?
I hope so.
I would love it.
It's probably just some idiot with a TV, and he puts in like a VHS tape. He's like, "Will you please watch this ad while you wait in line?" Yeah. So I don't know what E3 is going to do this year. Microsoft is going.
They're trying.
I mean,
get in touch with us, E3. You want the Angry Joe show to go over there and advertise? Let's see what kind.
Yeah, Qtainment.
You'll
do magic tricks.
You can meet the Angry Joe show. You can shake your hand as you go along, and Joe will show you some magic tricks.
He said
because
that's
the
problem. Pet people.
You can pet people. It's like, hey,
no,
calm down.
Calm down.
You're almost
if they're
nuts.
mad over Pokemon. But here's the thing: is that E3 has had this problem, where you go there, you see these exciting games because it's like, whoa, you get to see this early, but you sit in line for 4 hours.
4 hours.
And then you miss some of the other things that you wanted to see. If they were doing Qtainment, then maybe they could be a little bit more worth it, but I don't understand what this Qtainment thing is.
Mimes would be
nice.
They hand out iPads or something while you're in line. I don't know.
Ew. It's too expensive.
Yeah, like you have to wipe that thing down after everyone touches it. Gamers have jam hands.
Yeah, I don't know. But all I know is that if
Goose.
one more massive company, like if Microsoft's like, well, if Sony's not coming, then I'm not going to come.
Yeah.
Then E3 could pretty much fall apart. But I think maybe in this case they're like, oh, well, we get more time now. So maybe it's less likely that Microsoft and Nintendo has a little smaller presence, but they still kind of put some stuff on the floor. Maybe they feel like, well, now we'll get a little bit more time for our titles now that Sony's gone. We'll have to see how it shakes out over the next few years.
There's a lot of conferences, so it's harder for these big companies to decide which ones to go to.
Yeah.
We got Ubisoft is kind of shaking things up. They had a rough last year. They had some releases that people weren't happy with. A lot of complaints that their games were like too similar. They kind of felt the same. They're kind of stale. And so what they're doing is they are shaking up.
Remember they did a big delay on a lot of their upcoming titles. That's a good start.
Yes.
Ubisoft, I rail on you as much as anybody else.
It's tough love.
But it is tough love because they are one of the good ones with YouTubers.
We like
personalities. They're very nice, and they know some of the things, and hopefully they can turn it around. You know what you did.
So they've announced that they are going to implement significant changes to its production process. It's no longer going to be directly controlled by one person. Let's see, is it their CCO, their creative officer, Hasko it. And so it was his job to oversee all those things, put in a bunch of these ideas, and so all of the games kind of felt the same, and everything was very samey. And so what they're doing is they're putting more people under him that will have more autonomy, more control over the departments, and that may be what the issue is with Watch Dogs. They've delayed it. We don't even know when that's coming out. We don't know when Gods and Monsters is coming out. Rainbow Six Quarantine, we don't know when they're coming out. We know it'll be after April sometime. But now it gives them more time to kind of make the games feel a little bit different, so it's not just one person's vision touching all of these games.
And what's the news story there?
It's a completely new department. They've completely shook up their whole creative process, and they're bringing all these new people and giving people power.
Some new ideas.
Yeah, some new ideas.
Well, what they need to do is instead of homogenizing and making every game feel the same, let the creative teams do their own fucking thing and almost make completely different feeling games instead of the cookie cutter open world towers. Everything should be Division 2 generic. Let's take Operation Ghost Recon and fuck it up the ass. That's what they were doing. That's what the hand gestures would have been if Yeah.
Were you there for the
Do you
presentation?
need? Does that not make you nervous every fucking time, Joe? When Alex puts his nice phone on his fucking thigh and it just sits there teetering
Why
on
are you
the
sitting
edge?
on my thighs?
Because you dropped that phone before. Well, your
Once.
thighs are quite sexy, my man. Do you need me to get
He
you a
squats.
table?
I would like a table.
We
Maybe
have
a
some
place.
supporting members.
A place of
and they
like for
pay
a tiny
upgrades to the Angry Joe Show. Do you need a little table you can put that?
Yeah.
Because she's like, you got 5 things in your lap. Why is the jacket not on?
I don't know.
He got hot.
Put your jacket
It's
on.
hot in here.
Okay, fine. No, it's
Like
not.
it's hot in here.
Oh my
I'm
God.
under 500 lights. That you're trying to make me look like a ghost,
so
so it's
are we.
hot in here. All right, next news story. So England's top mental health care professional.
Get you a little laptop.
Yeah, a little thing would be nice, so I can just like have
Little
things
command
here,
center.
pull up
I'll
memes
make
and
one for
stuff.
you.
No,
You do
no,
not want your
no, I don't want him.
head
Anything
will
that you
fall
touch will
apart.
explode. It said that they need to do something. It's something a serious problem with gambling and loot boxes in their country.
Good.
And so this
I
is
want
another
way
person.
more reports. I
They have
need
real
more
facts, unlike the other ones.
Yeah, so Miss
Violent.
Murdoch has called on gaming companies to ban sales of games with loot
Murdoch.
boxes that encourage children to gamble, introduce fair and realistic spending limits to prevent people from spending thousands, make clear to users what percentage, the chance you have, support parents by increasing their awareness of the risk of in-game spending. That's a big one. Most parents don't know that the $60 game that you bought also has thousands of possible transactions come
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah.
The report also called for the gaming industry to face up to responsibilities to protect players from potential harms, to just all the things that we've been talking about. This is just
Addiction
another
and stuff, yeah.
a person that has an outlet and just says that, look, England has a problem with gambling. It's a huge issue.
Yeah.
400,000 people with serious gambling problems in England. That's not just people that gamble.
Yeah.
That's serious problems.
Okay.
It's a country of 56 million people.
Yes.
And so it's like a larger percentage than you'd like.
Mm-hmm.
And they say that 55,000 children are classes having gambling problems. Not just gamble, that have gambling problems.
And that doesn't come from the fucking crotchety casinos where you got the old people smoking and playing bingo and shit. The young people they don't go in there. That has to come from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Kids don't fucking play outside or climb trees anymore. What are they doing? They're on their fucking iPads or they're
Gambling.
on their fucking consoles. And in their iPads is the mobile gaming trash. And in the consoles, they're starting to bring over mobile gaming trash ideas. And that's
Unfortunately.
where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating to me that these the people in charge and people in the government are not seeing this, or they're being complacent. They're getting their pockets lined while you have a little bit of a brewing epidemic, as is proven by those numbers. And it sucks. I wish there was more movement on it. And, I don't call for outright bans on those games. I mean, people can do what they want with their money, but at the very least, they should be classified as gambling.
People should be aware. Like the parents may not be aware. I mean,
yeah, and the ratings should be, teens or mature or adults, these kinds of things. And then when you go up to purchase your loot box, there needs to be the odds. It's like press
Point
0.027. Are you
0.0000.
sure? Yes. Now they rely on all the things so that you're not sure. And here's the fucking Call of Duty I'm going on a rant. The Call of Duty fucking mobile thing. They'll try to do that, but they hide all the information in there. And how they really get you is these like limited time Halloween events where the rules are completely different than the rules that they fucking laid out, and they don't show the fucking loot
limited
drop
run.
percentages, or they're completely fucking different and it works different, and they just have you rely on old information. I'm keeping an eye on this extra hard this fucking year, 2020, and we'll do a video on how we think they should at least do this, because when I noticed our worst games of 2019 and some of the negative things and the controversies and stuff, a lot of it had to do with these companies pushing too hard on the microtransactions. And luckily, we're already seeing some come back.
A little bit,
and
yeah.
that's because of what you guys did and how you reacted to it. And so let's continue to be hyper vigilant,
Fight the good
hyper
fight.
aware, signal boost these kinds of things and going forward, because I think we're starting to turn this.
yeah, I
We're
think
starting
especially
to win this fight.
especially in England.
Get
So
our divisions and our mobile infantry. Call them Angry Army. Oh, God. Sorry.
even
Let's go.
the NHS, so the healthcare system, recognizes in their statement says the Gambling Commission does not regulate some loot boxes due to a loophole. So even the people that are just the mental health care professionals are like, look, there's a legal loophole. The Gambling Commission does not take ownership of it just because of the way a specific thing is written, and they recognize they need to change it. Even the Gambling Commission said that, look, you change it, we'll have to do it, but right now we don't. So it's a game of hot potato.
Not our problem.
It's just like, whose problem is it? And right now it's nobody's. And I'm hoping this year the Parliament makes a decision. It's like, look, it's this. This
y'all's problem.
You fix it. You do something about it. So we'll have to see. We got some news. We talked a little bit about the delays to Cyberpunk. Mm-hmm. And so there's been a lot of people criticizing them again because they were criticized a couple of years ago for crunch time for Witcher 3, right? And so crunch is something that's, it's a reality in the gaming industry, forcing people to work really long hours. And so there's a lot of criticisms. And some of it is fairly reported, but a lot of it's not. And so I wanted to kind of explains how CD Projekt Red does crunch time and how that they said that they're trying to be more humane this year.
So when it came out that they said we're delaying the game, I saw a bunch of news stories pop up. It says they're delaying the game, but they're still going to crunch their employees to Kingdom Come. I was like, what? How?
Yeah, so they are going to have some people work nights. They're going to have some people work weekends. They're trying to do it more humanely. One of the things that so it's like, unlike many other game studios which avoid paying overtime to employees on annual salaries, CD Projekt Red pays all of its staff for overtime, which is never happens to salary employees. 150% for nights and 200% for weekends. Yeah. Yes, they will ask you to work longer hours, but unlike places that do have real serious crunch time, they're not saying, well, we're already paying you a salary, you're going to work double anyway.
Yes.
So it is a problem, and it's something they're looking to address.
It's also a tough job.
Yeah.
And it's also a prestigious spot to work at that company. And I don't want CD Projekt Reds to, whip their employees like they're slaves and go too far with it. But at the same time, gaming companies experience this kind of thing. And I guess the community is like, well, why can't you just delay it to where there's no crunch at all? Yeah. Is what the point is of some of those articles.
Yeah, a lot of the criticisms are just mainly because they had a poor track record during the launch year of Witcher. There was a lot of Glassdoor articles and written by ex-employees saying like, look, the first couple years of development will be amazing, great company to work for. The last year you're looking at double time. And I mean, if CD Projekt Red is paying you for it, I mean, it still seems like one of the best places in the industry to work. Hopefully the crunch isn't so bad this year though.
Okay.
Then another really important piece of information that we got,
and I'm sure in this time, I mean, obviously we're reporting on the news, we're giving our opinion. Obviously, if they go too far with it, we're going to see news stories.
Oh, for sure.
So CD Projekt Red needs to be careful, and they need to manage it correctly. And obviously, if somebody's complaining, they better have legitimate complaints, and not just try to write a hit piece or whatever without just to get attention.
Yeah.
But we'll know about it.
Yeah, we'll find out. Yeah. In the same investor Q&A, it was also revealed that the multiplayer mode would not be playable until after 2021. So, Pete, we were hoping last week that
what?
2021.
After 2020. So,
they said that?
Yes. The quote is, given the expected release of Cyberpunk 2077 in September, and speaking of a series of events we expect to occur after that date, 2021 appears unlikely as a release date for the Cyberpunk multiplayer, says Michael Nowakowski, CD Projekt Red's member of the board and SVP of Business Development.
You said so it's unlikely. 2021 is unlikely?
2022.
Yes, 2021 appears unlikely as a release date, so probably 2022.
That's a different game. That's an expansion. I'm not really sure they expect their player base to wait 2 years.
Yeah, that's a long ass time.
I don't really think so. So maybe how long was it when Blood and Wine came out after Witcher 3 came out? Somebody look that up, put it in the comments.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Upvote it. But that seems like a really long time that by then players will have moved on to another game or wouldn't care. So then, in that case, you might want to consider positioning that as a completely separate game. I'm okay with it. Like, I'm just looking forward to an excellent single-player RPG, deep experience with Cyberpunk. I don't expect multiplayer, so honestly, I think they should make that a separate game or at least an expansion.
Or if they put something out every couple months, more expansions, DLC,
getting us
getting to the point where you get
cultivate their player base, and then it'll have a little bit of an explosion.
Or make a Netflix series and make everyone go back again.
Yeah,
kind of like.
Oh, I like that. That's a good
kind
way to do
of like the complete reverse of what Bethesda's doing with Fallout 76.
Whatever you doing.
How
don't
did
do
we?
it.
I wrote there was no Fallout in the script. We use script very loosely.
Yeah.
There was in the horrible spreadsheet we use for these news stories. Not one
I didn't
mention of
see
Fallout.
it.
I didn't write
I didn't
Bethesda.
see it. This guy's
this
just,
him.
It's him. It was him today.
But it's legit because that's what Bethesda's doing with the Fallout 76 and they're shitty for 2 years. And then, hey, Wasteland, it's multiplayer now, or it's NPCs and your multiplayer
Get
now.
ready to play it, Alex. You got your setup.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Sorry, Alex. I'm sorry. I brought it up, and I thought we'd get through one episode, and I realize now that was a mistake.
Yeah, and then now like I wanted like it's like
I get my 1-star removed.
How is the engine? What is the creation engine? Like, if the creation engine should have been like taken out back and shot like 5 years ago, and they're still making games on it, and
Hopefully it'll be heavily modified, and we'll see when they do their new one. I saw a news story, the Elder Scrolls 6, we could put this in there, is a lot more job postings, so it looks like they're ramping up. I'm like, ramping up now? I thought this motherfucker was it. Well, you're in pre-production
now.
No, it makes sense. When I know about game development, you got pre-production, you've got a little bit of staff, and then you obviously ramp it up when you're in full production. So I think Elder Scrolls 6 is going into full production pretty soon. So that'll be quite interesting to see how that game turns out.
everything will be under a microscope. Everything from them, they have destroyed consumer
They
confidence.
shot themselves in the foot.
Well, they shot themselves in more places.
Sure.
than the
But
foot.
if they turn this around, and Cinderella's story will be the first to praise them. Just letting you know.
All right. Well, that's all we got this week. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you like and subscribe. Maybe check out some merch.
Yep. And
What is this? I got
hit
this.
those
See?
links down below. Appreciate you guys
didn't
with the
get that
show.
one.
And we will see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.